Hello, you beautiful people. And today we're going to be talking about formula tricks, the commonly used formulas, which are sum, autosum, max, min, and average. And the file we're going to be using today in your level one is the formulas file. So please open the formulas file. Okay. And the first formula we're going to be covering is the sum formula. So, if you look at this first case here, you will notice TV set sales for different years. So, how do I find the total quantity of sales for each year rather? The common way that will come to most people's minds is the equals is to find the sum that's equals to S, then you start typing in sum. Now, something I want to show you whilst you're typing in, you don't need to completely finish typing in the name of the formula, then now double click on sum. An easier and faster way to select a formula whilst you're typing in is while I'm typing SUM, if I press the tab key, it auto completes it. The tab key. The tab key, I believe, is under the backtick key we talked about in the last episode. So SUM, then press the tab key to auto-complete it. It's useful for if you have longer formulas. Like for example, if I wanted to do some products, right? And I've typed in SUM and I'm typed in P and it's already suggesting to me some product, I can just press the tab key and it auto completes it. But that's just by the way. So I want to use the sum function right here. So what will come to most people's minds is to use the sum function, then drag down the all your quantity sales. Drag down all your quantity sales to the end, then press enter. That's fine, but there's an easier way to do it. Imagine this all the sales they run into hundreds of columns, which you can often encounter in the workplace. So a quicker way, a shortcut actually for that sum function is alt equals to alt key and equals to. So if you press alt and equals to, you can see it has produced the sum function there for you. So you can just press enter and that's that. But now this function also has a shortcoming, and that is if in the data array there you have blanks like this. Blanks, I'm not talking about zeros, I'm talking about absolute blanks, like there's nothing there. You can see that two cells here in which they are completely blank. Now what do? What we want to do, we would like to fill in these blanks with zeros, so we can use the alt equals to formula. So how do we do that? You're going to select the whole array. So remember our shortcut, Control Shift, then go down again, all the way to the end, right? So now I want you to press Control G, Control and G, which is go to. Now go to what? Go to special. Go to special allows us to select um, special kinds of cells within a selected array. So special, and what are we looking for? What kind of cells are we looking for? We're looking for the blank cells. So I want you to click on blank. Okay. And as you can see, it has highlighted those blank cells, which are this and this. Now, without pressing any other cell, without clicking on any other cell, see if you click on another cell, it's going to it's going to your selection is going to go away like this. So without clicking any other cell, I want you to enter 0, and without clicking any other cell again, enter control then enter. And when you do that, you can see it fills in 0 into all the blank cells. So now that this is done, we can now use our alt and equals to. So now remember, what did we just do? First of all, we selected the range, selected it, then we did Control G. After we did Control G and we selected the blank cells, we did Control Enter before we use the alt and equals to. Yeah. Then there's also a fourth way to do the sum function, which is you go to the formulas tab here. Then you have an auto sum. So let me delete this. All right. So while I click here, I come here and press the auto sum, and it does that for me as well. Okay. Now we're moving on to the max, min, and average for non-continuous cells. What do you mean by non-continuous cells? So assuming we want to find the total sales from April 2009 to March 2010. April 2009 here, all the way to March 2010. Now, this is commonly done in taxation, where a year doesn't necessarily, in tax, a year doesn't necessarily run from January to December. It can run from March of one year to February of the other year. From like this, it ran from April of 2009 to March 2010. So now, how do we find the sales for such non-continuous cells? So what you do is equals to SUM, tab key. Remember to press the tab key. So while we're on the tab key, you select from April all the way to December. Then you enter a comma. As you can see, it's suggested to you here. What these suggestions that come up here are called parameters. So usually they give you clues on the kind of data you should enter into your formula. So you enter the comma, and whilst that is still like that, you come back and select January to March of 2010. So now that we've done that, we can press enter, and it gives us the total sales from April 2009 to March 2010. So now you may also want to find what was the maximum sale within that same range, April 2009 to March 2010. So you just enter a different formula, max, but we select the same kind of range, that is April 2009, comma, up to March of 2010, enter. And you can see it has given you the maximum sale, and I believe that maximum sale was on April 2009. The minimum sale, that same format, just a different formula, minimum tab key, minimum tab key, comma, enter. Then average. from April 2009 comma January to March 2010, enter. And you can see that it has given us the answers we would like. Now, I want you to go to the next sheet. Remember the shortcut how to toggle between worksheets. That is control page down. Now on sheet 2. Now a common that max formula we just talked about can be applied in financial modeling and budgeting. Now look at this case. You have income of 500,000. You know your tax percent to be 20%. So how do we commonly find tax, right? We do equals to the total income, right, multiplied by the tax rate. Easy. But consider the scenario in which, let me go back up. Consider the scenario in which you had a negative income, which can happen in real life where the company makes a loss. What is going to happen? The company made a loss of 500,000. If you use our previous method where we did equals to the income rate, the income multiplied by the tax, you're going to get negative tax, which is not possible. You can't pay the government a negative any amount less than 0. So in this scenario, what we would like to do is to find the maximum between 0 and the tax figure, because if what you're getting for tax is negative, in reality what would happen is that the company would just not pay tax. They would pay nothing, which is 0. So I'll use a simplified explanation for this. So if I have -1 and I have 3, and I want to select the maximum between these numbers, what I'll do is equals to max. I'll pick the first cell, second cell, enter. And you can see that it picks the max. It picks the max out of 2 of them. Now, what happens if I change this to say 10? Because that formula remains, it will give you the new maximum. So basically that's how the max function works. So now what we would like to do in this tax case is that we'll use the maximum between 0, right, because that's the lowest you can pay, that's the lowest possible tax any company can pay, 0, and you would enter the formula for tax as the second parameter. That is -500,000 multiplied by 20%. And what you see is that you have a dash, which means 0. They're not paying anything. Now, if I change this -500,000 income and I remove the minus and make it 500,000 and enter, you can see it automatically changes. So basically, that's just the idea there. Now, the second case study, we're considering a scenario where a phone company, they charge their customers, either the customer pays 2%, this is for a late deposit, either they pay 2% of the amount due, but if that 2% of the amount due is lower than 100, they'll just pay 100. So 100 is the lowest they can pay. So what I mean is, if you have you have 100, you have the 2%, right? And let me make this bold. Okay, so if you have 2% multiplied by 2% of 5,000 is 100, and I'll just 2% of 7,000 is 140. 2% of 64 is 2% of 3,200 is 64. So what I was trying to explain with the phone company is that what they're saying is that um if they are to choose between the 2% of 5,000, which is 100 and 100, 100 and 100 are the same, so they're just going to charge you 100. But if they're to choose between 2% of 7,000, which is 140, right, and 100, they're going to pick 140 because 140 is higher than 100. So they'll charge you 140. If they're to pick between 2% of 3,200, which is 64, and 100, they're going to charge you 100 because 100 is higher. So now what we want to do here is to use the max formula to solve this whole case. So you have max tab. Now the first thing we'll enter is the 100, right? Then we're entering 5,000 times 2%. 2% off. And now we can you can just drag this formula down. Yeah, and you can see it gives us the answers we're looking for: 100, 140, and 100. Yeah, so those are the sum, auto sum, max, min, average formulas. Please practice this, and if you need to pause at any point, pause. And again, if you encounter any problems, have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'll get back to you shortly. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Let me know how you found my explanation, anything you think I can improve upon. Thank you very much. See you in the next episode, the next lesson. You'll be using the same worksheet in the next lesson. So see you then. Thank you.